Well, the first thing we need to understand, how is it possible to increase the number of women on board? The second is, which are the effects in the boardroom, what's taking place in the boards when they are getting new women on the boards, also as a result of some kind of legislations, or at least these kind of efforts to increase the number. And thirdly, then we need to understand some other consequences. I was thinking that a country like Sweden, for example, wouldn't need to have any quotas to increase the number of boards in powerful positions, because in Sweden the institutional background, the cultural background, and the activism that's been there for so long time, it has been raising the number of women on boards without any kind of quota. But when seeing here the other day that 3 of the 4 first pages was completely full a few days ago in the main Swedish pink newspaper, telling that we are needing quotas, what would be the case then? The only country I would think of that do not need it. Within that country, the business leaders are raising the question that they are needing a quota. And I think there might be, we see a tendency that more and more countries will decide on going for legislation. Most countries have been trying to find ways of stimulating voluntary actions, but formal legislation seem to be coming more and more, and they're referring to Norway. They've been seeing that things have been accepted in Norway, even though there might be energy going in different directions. It's accepted, and it definitely hasn't ruined Norwegian economy, and there are considerably more women being trained and properly fitted for being on the boards, and that's what they want to learning about. And typically we are seeing in Norway that it's not one group of women getting on boards, but there are many different women with lots of different backgrounds, behavior, values, intentions for being on the boards. And we have made some kind of clusters, or trying to make some types of the different women that have been getting into the boards in Norway. And then is the question how it would be other places. I think that we in Norway have the contribution of the women is very interesting and basically very positive. We have a fairly egalitarian society in Norway, both between classes and also between gender. But that's not the same all other places. In a country like Germany, for example, it's not the same kind of egalitarian system between the classes, and it's not the same egalitarian situation between the gender, which means that the women getting into the boards may have a different background than those that we are seeing in Norway. That will involve, for example, that while in Norway the women typically have been replacing other independent directors. Yes, actually it's the case in Norway that the women that are getting on the boards typically are getting the position as the independent persons. While in Germany, I think we would see the situation that some of the men with a more labor class, social democratic background may be replaced by women, more upper class women in Germany. Or at least some of the more privileged or professional top women in Germany are going to replace these more women with alternative backgrounds, which means that we may not get the same kind of diversity based on this gender balance approach in Germany as in Norway, as the women might most likely would be more like the men already being there. And it would be the men that have a different background that will have to leave the boards.